everybody, this is Michelle with Creative Operation in Country Craft Creations, and I have a tutorial for you. This is tutorial number 3 using Cartabella's Hocus Pocus paper collection. That is my design team package project for this month, and I made a really cute little album. And what I wanted to do is I bought this a while ago and I shared it in a haul video, and I wanted to incorporate this into an album, so I kind of used this in 3 different ways on this album. We're going to talk about this. And I kind of came up with a different closure too. So hopefully I think you'll like it. I like it. I think it turned out really great. But what I did was I made this cute little album, and this album is not super big. It is 6 inches by 7 inches, and it has a spine that is 1.5. So it's not a super big album, but it would be a very quick album to make, and it was really fun. So let's go through the album, and then we'll go ahead and do the tutorial. So again, it's 6 by 7, and it has a front cover where this is kind of the first way that I used the Thinlits album die that I got from Country Craft Creations. This is a great album die in and of itself, but I tried to use it in a couple different ways in this album. So in the first way, I made the closure. So I cut out, if you look in here, you have the kind of the base page, and then you have the matte die in here. And so I cut out the base page and the matte, and then I just trimmed the holes off of the side. So it just basically matted that piece. And then I glued it on 3 sides on top of the cover, because this tab will tuck under there, and that's what keeps the album closed. And it just slides under there like so, and there you go. So I was trying to think of a different way other than ribbons and magnets and stuff to go ahead and try and close the album. And that worked out really good. So I'm going to show you how to make that, but that was the first way that I used it. So on the cover, again, I did get the coordinating cardstock that goes with this kit, so that's what's behind this particular mat. The spiders were from my stash, and I just thought that fit perfect with the spider theme. And I like the title, Something Wicked This Way Comes. It's just very cute. So there's the cover. On the spine, I just put one of the stickers from the collection on the spine, the skeleton. He's pretty scary. I left the back plain, and this is why I put the spiders on, because there's spider webs all over everything. So there you go. So when you open the album, so this just tucks, and there's no scoring in the handle. You want it to kind of curve around, and it's just made out of cardstock. And so on the inside front cover and the back cover, we have accordion pockets. I'm going to show you how to make those. And then in each of those, I did some things, like I had cut-aparts that I cut out, and I inked the edges. And then on this cut-apart here, I used some of the leftover cardstock that was the coordinating cardstock from the collection, made a little booklet. So I have that. And then I have a bigger one here. So this one here opens up this way, and it's one of the cut-aparts here. I love these guys. They're so cute. And then I have inside, I made the album. So I used this pretty much as it was supposed to be used. So I cut 3 pages for the album. I did the mats on the fronts. I added one of the cut-apart pieces, and this is cut so that, or glued so that you could tuck a picture behind if you wanted to. And then you cut the album spine, has holes, and then you just thread the ribbon through, and you have this cute little book. Okay, so we'll flip through. I use the coordinating cardstock colors for the book and my leftover pattern papers, and it made just this cute little booklet. And there's a lot of room. You could put way more than 3 pages, but I just decided to go with 3 for this one. On the pocket, one of the cut-aparts with a button and some twine, and then I just added that little ghost in there because I thought that was kind of cute. Looks like he's kind of floating out of the hall there, I guess you could say. And then you just put your cut-aparts in here. This is an accordion pocket, so it does have a ton of room. You could put a lot more in there if you wanted to. So then on the back, I'm going to go through this real quick. Same thing. So again, I made the accordion pocket. There's one of the cut-aparts with a button and some twine here. One of the stickers, which mimics the hands on the front here. And we have our little spider. And then I have a couple cut-aparts. So I don't know if you noticed, but in this one it has boo. And then in here I put boo-hoo. So I don't know. My dad jokes came out with the knock knock who's there thing. So anyway, I thought it was funny. So I got more cut aparts here. And then I made another booklet. This one says Bugs and Kisses. So there's another booklet. And then this one here is another booklet. Keep calm and scare on. So you can put a lot of pictures in this. And then there's lots of room to add. And then on this booklet here, I did the same thing. 3-page booklet. Use the page, the mat, and the spine from the die kit. And some of the seam binding from my design team package, and created a little photo album. Okay. So super cute, super fun to make, and easy. Okay. So then I decided to add a middle page, and we're going to do kind of a hidden binding here so that we have the spine piece kind of all inclusive here. And then I just made a page, and then on the page what I did was I put some pages on, 3 pages on the front and 3 pages on the back, and did the spine piece from the die cut and then wrapped it around that page, and then that gave us another set of albums, you know, another set of flips for the page. And then underneath I took a die cut and glued it on 2 sides, and then added a couple of the cut aparts that were left over in this beautiful haunted house. I love it. So a couple of the cut aparts here, right here, and then when you turn the page again, you have your album. Okay, and on this one I just used the pattern paper, and then another cut apart, spooky trees, and then some more of the cut aparts there. So pretty easy, but that's the ways I used this particular die for this album. So the cover closure, made the booklets as it was intended, and then I added booklets basically to the front and back of these pages. So that's the album. Let's go ahead and get to the tutorial so that you can see how to do this. The cover is going to be done a little bit different than normal, so we're going to go through the cover together. You will need lightweight chipboard that I've already prepared, 2 at 8.5, or excuse me, the lightweight chipboard is 2 at 5 7/8 by 6 7/8, and then you need 1 piece for the spine that's 1 3/8 by 6 7/8. The cover cardstock is 2 at 8.5 by 9, and 1 that is 3.5 by 6 7/8, and that's all you're going to need to make this cover. So let's put this off to the side. As I said, I did prep my chipboard with some score tape, and then the 3.5 by 6 7/8 inch piece of cardstock is prepped with score tape as well. And then you have your other 2 pieces here. So in your scoreboard, you're going to score these both the exact same way. And we're going to put them in, and we're going to score at 1.5 and at 7.5, and that's with the 8.5 at the top. Okay, so 8.5 at the top, score at 1.5, 7.5. Okay, then turn it. 9 at the top. We're going to score at 1 and at 8. Okay, that's it. You're going to score both of them exactly the same way. And then on one of them, we're going to cut out this little rectangle here that is on the 1.5 inch score. So I just put X's there. The other one, we're going to leave that on there, but this first one we're going to cut out. So I'm just going to cut out, if I can see my score marks here, I'm going to cut that completely out. I'm going to leave, actually, what I'm going to do, I'm going to miter that just a little bit, okay? So I'm going to miter both of those just a little bit. Sorry about that. Okay, and cut that out. So miter it just a little bit. Like I would say probably no more than 1/8 of an inch. And cut those pieces out, okay? So you should have a piece that looks like this. And then again, this is on the 1.5 inch score here. This is the 1 inch score over here. And basically what we're going to do is we're going to miter this. Again, no more than about 1/8 of an inch miter, okay? So you don't want it too crazy. Okay, like so. And then this one here, same thing. And I'm doing this one in white, hopefully so you can see it better. And I'm not going to do the pattern paper and stuff like that. This is just going to be kind of showing you how to make the book base. And then I'm going to probably do something else with it. We'll see. We'll see. But there you go. So you just do a miter on this one, the 1.5 inch rectangle there. We're gonna actually just miter it. Leave it there though. Okay. And then we'll cut the corners out of here. And again, just miter just a little bit. Okay. The 1 inch little squares get cut out. Okay. And then we're going to miter this. This is, I guess, I mean, it uses chipboard, but I'm kind of, I don't know, I'm calling it, I don't know if I should, I don't know how to call this. It's kind of a modified lay flat, but it's kind of a folio style, I guess. I don't know what to call it, but this is a really easy way to go ahead and cover your chipboard when you're doing lightweight chipboard. So after we do that, let's go ahead and fold and burnish all of our scores. Okay. And it will cover all of the edges of our chipboard too, so that's good, right? Because I don't like my chipboard showing. And once you get this album done, you know, we're using lightweight chipboard. Once you put the layers of your papers on with mats and everything, it's going to be very sturdy. So it'll work out great. Okay, so we have everything scored. So lay your piece down like this. So we have the inside up. Our scores are going, you know, kind of to the inside. You have the 1.5 inch piece here and the 1.5 inch piece here. Okay, so one with tabs, one without tabs. We're going to glue these two pieces together like so. Okay, so I'm just going to grab my glue, my art glitter glue from Country Craft Creations. You want to be careful and keep it straight. Don't get it in the scores, you know, like so. Make sure we have a good stick. Now, if you look at the spine right now, okay, so we glued it like this. So you're going to have a folded edge here, but here's where you're going to have kind of that cut edge here. That's going to be the back of your album. So make sure that you have kind of the folded edge to, or folded edge to the front. Okay, so now that we've got that done, we're going to grab our chipboard and we're just going to lay this down. So I'm going to take this first piece, and again, the chipboard 2 at 5 7/8 by 6 7/8. And all of these are down below too. And this will be a little bit smaller by about 1/16 of an inch. So they should fit right inside of this just perfect. Okay. A second piece, so front and back. Like so. And maybe, oh, got that a little too close. I'm trying to take it off without ruining it. And maybe I don't know, I'll figure out a name for this, and then I'll do a tutorial on how to do this for future reference, and kind of go through all the how to do it. We shall see. And I cut that too wide. Yes, I sure did. Okay, I'm gonna have to fix that. It's 1.5 inches, so this should be 1 3/8 inches, and I obviously didn't cut it at 1 3/8 inches. So let me cut this down and I'll be back in a second. All right. cut it way too big. Silly me. Okay, let's do that. There we go. That's more better. Okay. So this will go on the spine, okay? This is exactly how it should look now. Don't cut it too wide. All right, just like so. All right, so then what we're going to do is we're going to start here at the top. We'll run a little bead of glue here, and little bead of glue here, and we're gonna fold that over and cover our edges, okay? Just like that. We're gonna continue this. And again here. If you wish to use score tape on this, you totally could. Put the score tape down and then use that. Not a big deal. But I got the top done. Now I'm going to go to the bottom, and then I'll do the sides last. Really simple method of doing this. So all you have to do is like figure out the dimensions that you want your cover, and then cut your chipboard 1/8 of an inch smaller, and then just have an inch border all the way around. Figure out what you want for your spine. It's pretty easy to do. And then you just join 2 pieces of cardstock at the spine, which does actually give the spine a little bit of more stability. Okay, so then we're going to just lay this side piece over, and that's going to cover the corners really well. This is why I didn't want too much of a miter here, because we're not going to have like in traditional wrapping where I poke the ends in, and that's why I didn't want it mitered too much. So traditionally we kind of cut the corners a little more sharply. We have that edge though that we tuck in. On this one, we're not going to have that. So that's why I kept it kind of not as sharply mitered. So there you go. Turn it over, we'll do this side. Running a bead just along the edge just to make sure that everything sticks nice. I'm hoping I'm not getting too tongue-tied. I think this is like the 4th video I'm doing today. Had a couple short ones that I wanted to get done. And then I'm gonna go work at the store, so I'm trying to get this done and get caught up. And if I do this, then I will be caught up, so that's good. All right, so the last piece, 3.5 by 6 6/8, and I'm just gonna use this to cover the spine, just like we would with any other piece. I'm gonna turn it to the side, make sure that I've got it kind of straight. It doesn't have to be super perfectly centered side to side, but I'm trying to get it kind of nice and centered top to bottom. Okay. All right. There's that. Make sure that's stuck down really good. And then you did notice that there was kind of a little space in between the chipboard. So I'm just going to run my bone folder down that space here to kind of define the spine here. Help train the paper. Okay, and you can do it on both sides if you wish, as that does help train the paper where you want it to go. Okay, and boom, you have your album cover, just like so. Okay, then let's see, let me get the next part here. The closure piece needs to be added before you add your pattern papers, because the back of the closure piece is actually going to be underneath the matting of your album. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and add that now, and then later on, I'm not going to demonstrate this, but later on what you're going to do is you'll put your mat and your pattern paper down, create the tuck element for your top, and remember to only glue it on the 3 sides, and then this piece will just kind of turn and tuck under there. And it's long for a reason, okay? So if your album gets bigger, you still have some room where you can tuck it. But I also thought that the more that it tucked under, the more secure that it was going to be. And you can see, I mean, I still have tons of room that I could have my album and it will still keep it nice and closed. So we're gonna grab our closure piece, which is 2 by 8 inches, and you're going to score it on the 2-inch side at 1 inch. So you're basically going to just fold it in half like so. So it's a double thickness of my artisan cardstock, okay? And then I'm just gonna glue it together. Make it nice and sturdy. And glue that down. And burnish it, make sure that the glue gets all spread out. And then I did get my corner rounder, and I'm going to round the corners because I think that that helps tuck underneath the tab. Okay, and then I'm going to take my bone folder real quick, and I'm just going to kind of give it just a little bit of a training, a little bit of a curve. I'm not going to score it. I'm just going to give it just a nice little curve so that when I go to put it around, it's going to curve nicely, okay? Okay. And then looking at, yeah, okay. So then what you're going to do on the back of your album, so with the fold here, that's the front, the cut edge on the spine here, that's the back. I'm just going to glue that to the back about 1 inch in, okay? So I'm going to grab my ruler and center this, and well, maybe about 1.5 inches. Let's do about 1.5 inches, I think. I want to make sure that it's pretty secure. I'm going to put glue on here, and then at that mark, I'm just going to glue that down, and then my pattern paper and my matting for the back of the album will go over that, and then also further secure that. Okay, so that is pretty much it for the closure. Okay, nice, nice, nice. So that'll wrap around and that will tuck underneath your element and it'll be perfect. Okay, so now that that closure is done, let's go to the inside cover pockets. I'm going to put this over here for now. Inside cover pockets. So I made one already. It's going to be an all-inclusive unit that we're just going to go ahead and put down on the inside of the album. Really super simple. You'll need 2 pieces of cardstock that are 8 7/8 by 9 7/8. Okay, so when we get our scoreboard, we're going to put this in our scoreboard and we're going to score on the 8 7/8 inch line. We're going to score at half, 1, 1.5. Okay, turn it. On the 9 7/8 inch, we're going to score at 3, and then we're going to turn it one more time, and we're going to score on the 8 7/8 again at half, 1, 1.5. Okay, easy peasy. We're going to cut out, if you look at the page, this is kind of the top big section here. Here's the pocket page down here. You have 3 real long longitudinal lines on each side. We're going to, first thing we're going to do is we're going to miter. Going on with my scissors, good gravy. We're going to miter the bottom corner, and we're going to miter this top piece here just a little bit. Okay, so through all 3 of those scores, and then we're going to cut the top 3 scores completely out. So you'll have a piece that looks like that. Okay, so these are mitered here just a little bit. 3 scores here, cut those 3 scores out. Repeat with this other side. Okay, So since I'm turning it, then I'm going to cut these guys out first. And I'm trying to cut the score lines out. Okay. There. And there. Okay. So we have that cut out. And then what we're going to do is just fold all of our lines. So we're going to fold our pocket up. And then what we're going to do is just do the accordion. So you're going to fold in and like that, okay? Making sure you kind of can nudge this over, make sure that your scores line up pretty nicely. And then we'll fold in. And do that again. So you'll have that accordion piece. So this is kind of an all-in-one accordion piece. It's really easy rather than trying to do a bunch of different pieces all at the same time. And the cool thing about doing it this way too is like I'm making a blank album right now. So I'm not going to put any of the pattern paper or anything on there. And I can go back at another time, like if I need a quick gift, and just grab some papers, and then the album's already done, and then it's just really easy just to put the pattern paper on. So that'll work really nicely. So if you want to make an album, but you're not quite sure which papers you want to make, this is kind of a nice way of doing it. So now I have 2 pockets. And then if we take our album, this is the back of the album because that's where the closure is going to be. These are going to go right over here, just like that. It's going to cover your chipboard and create your pocket all at the same time, which is nice. So add my glue, and this should be, you know, like a 1/16 of an inch in from the edges. So it's cut a little bit shorter than, you know, the cover. Like so. Okay. And that is simply how you do the pockets. Really easy. And there. So just like that. So you just make 2 of those. Not sure what I got on my paper, but that's going to get covered over with pattern paper anyway, so I guess I'm not going to, oops, worry about it. I got that too high. I need to nudge it down just a little bit. There we go. It's more better. All right. Okay. All right, so our pockets are on. Okay, looks good. So far, so good. Let's work on the page. This is the last thing. This is really super easy to do. I'm going to show you how to do it. So we will need a couple things. So we have our base page. So our base page cardstock is 6 1/4 by 6 1/2. Okay, and we will take our scoreboard, 6 1/4 at the top. We're going to score at 1/2 and at 3/4. Okay, that's going to give us our 1/2 inch tab for binding, and then our 1/4 inch gift space. I'm gonna drop everything while I'm at it. Okay, so we'll put that there. So we'll fold and burnish our page. Okay. Like so. And then in this case, I usually, because I'm going to do the slit, I'm going to miter the 1/2 inch tab. But if you do not want to do that and you just want to add the page to the top of your spine piece, you can totally do that. So let me show you what I'm talking about. So this is the, like the pattern paper if you were to cover the spine, okay? You could just take this and glue it down to the middle and be done with it, okay? I'm going to actually make a slit in the middle of this and put that 1/2 inch tab through there so that you have like kind of an all-inclusive spine piece Let me show you what I'm talking about. Okay, so if you can see those pumpkins, that's one piece and there's no slit right here at all. So that's how I'm going to do that. Let me show you how I did that. So that's what I'm going to do. So because that's what I'm going to do, I am going to miter that 1/2 inch. I usually don't do that, but because of the slit, that's what I'm doing this time. Okay, so I'm just mitering the 1/2 inch, not the 1/4 inch. Do not miter the 1/4 inch. That's our kind of give space to help with the page turning and to allow for all the elements in the books and everything that we're going to put on. So when you decide your paper, your pattern paper that you're going to use, cut it at 1 3/8 inch wide and 6 7/8 inch tall. Now you're going to have to find the middle of it. And with a pencil, what I did was I measured it. So it's 1/16 of an inch less than 3/4. Okay. So when you put your ruler on here and you find your 0 mark, you should be right in between the 5/8 inch and the 3/4 inch mark on the sides. Okay, so that's what I mean by 1/16 inch less than 3/4. Okay, so I measured that and I drew a line right down the center. And then the page is going to be 6.5 inch tall. Okay, so then I just found where that's centered, and it's a little bit, a 1/16 of an inch less than 1/4 of an inch. Okay, so you could just put your paper there, eyeball it, and then mark the ends, okay, where you need to stop your cut. Hope this makes sense. Then I'm gonna grab my cutting mat and this and my knife, and I have my lines. So I have my center line drawn and I have my little tick marks where the page ends. Okay, I'm gonna just put my ruler up against that, my straight edge, and I'm going to carefully cut that slit just like this. And don't go past your little marks, okay? So when you do that, you should have a piece that looks like this, and it should be connected at the top and it should be connected at the bottom. So you're just making that slit. And then your page, okay, is going to, the 1/2 inch tab should fit right in there. Okay, so it will look like this. Okay, now because this is my well, actually I'm just gonna do it. I'm not gonna glue it down to the book, but I'll glue this part down, I guess, to this. Do I want to do that? Yeah, I'm just gonna do it. All right, so that should glue down and just lay nice and flat. Okay, like so. Okay, so you have the pattern paper that is covering your oops, I didn't quite get that straight, did I? Let's see if I can lift that up real quick. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so then we have our piece that's like this. Okay, and then it will still have the slit, but we're going to glue that down, and then it's not going to be noticeable at all. You have your page right through there, and it's glued on the back. So then you're going to take your book, and this piece here will glue down just like that. Okay, and then you'll be totally good. I'm going to use a repositional tape runner here so that I can take it off. But obviously, if you're doing this in real life, you're going to want to use permanent adhesive, and I would use art glitter glue. Okay, so then I'm just going to lay that down right in the middle, like so. Okay, and then that's how you bind your page into your book. And again, use permanent adhesive for that. Okay, I'm using repositional because I'm going to take that off and do something different with the papers, but that's how you actually bind the book. Okay, so the one page. So then once we're done with that, we're going to grab our papers here. Now, for the middle section of this page, so I put 3 pages on each side. Okay, so 1, 2, 3 here, and 1, 2, 3 here. So all I did, and this is super simple, is take your die. Where's my die? And run it through your die cutting machine. Okay. Grab the actual die itself. I'll show you. Okay. So you have the die here, which I still have my white little pieces in there. This is what I cut the pages out of. And when you do that, you're going to get this faint little line right here, and that's kind of where the fold of this page is. And then I just took and put each of my pages in my scoreboard, and at 3/4 of an inch, I just kind of reinforced that score a little bit, which helped the pages turn, okay? So I did do that. I did go back and redo that. When you cut out your spine piece, and I did that, let me grab that. I did that, cut your spine piece out with your die cutting machine, okay? You'll get something like this. I did go ahead and reinforce these scores with this as well, okay? Now, they're a little bit off, so what you can do is just line up the scores that will be present in your scoreboard like at 6, and score that, and then it's 1/4 of an inch. So if you put them like totally at the edge, they're not going to line up with your score line. So I suggest that you do that. So you line that one score up with like a 6-inch mark or whatever score you have marked, and then go over 1/4 of an inch and rescore it, okay, just to kind of help it, especially if you're going to do like I did and use the pattern paper for this. You want to make sure that you make nice scores and don't just fold your paper, because you're going to have a more increased risk of cracking the paper, and you don't want to do that, okay? So you have your pieces cut, so you need 1 spine, and then you need 6 pages, and I used pattern paper for this. When you do this, remember also that the pattern paper, you're going to be flipping it like this. So if you have a direction on one side, that will need to be the front or the back, but you have to have a non-directional on the other side, because otherwise when you flip it, it's going to be upside down, okay? Make sense? So watch your pattern papers when you're doing that. Otherwise, just do cardstock and then put mats on. You can do that too, okay? So I have 3 for each side here, okay? So then once you get that all done, then what I did was I used actual real glue for this. I'm going to use repositional so I can kind of, you know, redo this later. But I just glued like right in between the holes. I just kind of secured them a little bit, because I wanted them to not flop around, especially since they're going to be on a page. All right, so we're going to do that. So we'll make 2 sets of 3 pages. I got fuzzies all over my papers from my die cutting machine. I really need to clean my die cutting machine, I think. Or clean my mats or get new mats or something. I have an old Cuttlebug, believe it or not. I have an old Cuttlebug that I'm still using. When it breaks, I will get a new one. I'm not going to get a new one until it breaks. I just can't justify doing that. Although my husband says I can. Okay, so now I have 2 stacks of 3 pages. Have my spine. Grab your page. And this is probably easier to do when it's not adhered to the book, but, you know, it is what it is. So I'm going to put this down, and then I'm going to grab my hole punch. Now, these are 3/4 inch holes, so you're going to need they're 1/4 inch holes. So you're going to need a 1/4 inch hole punch, okay? And I'm dropping holes. But I'm just going to line this up. I'm going to center it, so right in the middle of the page, okay? I'm just eyeballing this one, but that looks pretty darn good to me. And I'm going to just punch my holes in my top of my page, okay? Like so. So let's turn our page right side. So now we have our binding holes, okay? That's it. We're going to put the back page here, all right? Like so. This will go over the top, and then all we have to do is thread our ribbon or our seam binding or whatever we're going to use. So let me grab something round here. going to just kind of center my holes here. Okay, and that's it. That's what we're going to do. So you can further secure them to the page if you'd like. And I just think I might do that because it'll be easier. It won't be so floppy. Okay, so again, I would use permanent glue on the real project since this is the tutorial slash I'm going to probably redo it with something else. I'm going to use repositional so I can tear it apart. There you go, like that. Okay, and then this guy's going to go over top like so. Okay, and then I have 2 lengths of seam binding that are about 14 inches. And I'm going to thread those through the hole. 1 on each side. If I can get my fingers to work. Like that. Okay. I'm going to make sure that they're even. Okay, so just want enough on each side. I just want the same amount on each side. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is take a clamp of some sort, and I'm gonna just kind of temporarily do a little bit of a tie here, and then I'm going to clamp it. Okay, then I'm going to turn it over, and I'm going to tie this one completely into my book. Like so. I'll finish those edges later. Okay, and then turn it over. And the reason why I clamped it is just to hold it in place so I could get a nice tight little bow. And then I'm just going to finish this bow over here, and then that is how I tied it together. Through the same, you know, spine and all the same hole, and you can use as much or as little as you want. Boy, I tied that tight. There we go. Okay, so that's it. That's how you do it. And then you have a booklet on both sides with a nice little ribbon, and you are done. That's it. That's how you do the book. So again, on the front, I used this die, and I used the matte die here, okay? But when I cut the page die out, I just cut it at that mark so that it left the border for your pattern paper, okay? And then that gave me this particular section that I put on my front cover to tuck my closure in. And that's it. That's how you make this tuck tab album. So I hope that all of that made sense in order to make this album. It's really simple. It's really fast to put together. I did make the 3-page booklets with the spine for each of the pockets on the inside. Okay, so you have those as well. So this book has 3, 6, 9, 12 of those booklet pages in it, plus we used it also for the closure, and we did the booklets stand alone as it is, you know, intended to be used, and then we also just incorporated it into kind of a fun waterfall page for our book. So that's my tutorial. I hope it made sense. If you have any questions, always please know you can always contact me, and I'm more than happy to answer questions. I hope you enjoyed it. Go to Country Craft Creations and grab this die because it's really fun, and it's actually, you can use it for a lot more than just little booklets. You can add it to all kinds of different things and use it in so many other different ways. So thanks for watching. Go grab your Cartabella Hocus Pocus, and I will see you again soon with other tutorials. Stay spooky, my friends. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.